All right, so welcome to the interview. We got me, the Panther, and who do we got over here?
We got about to say the artist known as Xavier Bolton, and we got what you call it, also known as Wavy from Twitter. And
Yes,
that's all I got for the
sir.
introduction, bro. But that's it.
I just want to tell the viewers that in context, you have released a new mixtape or album, whichever you call it, called
Album,
Dopamine.
yeah,
Album,
yeah.
yes. This Dopamine album, man. How do you feel so far on the release of it? How do you feel? What's your thoughts?
So I'm back. My bad. I'm back up so you get the shirt up in there.
Yes,
But what was
sir.
the question? My fault.
So, with this album that you just put out, Dopamine, how are you feeling after its release? How you feeling?
I mean, honestly, I feel good. I mean, outside of like, I would say like the actual like release of it. I mean, like I kind of like botched my own release like to an extent, but other than that, I mean, honestly, it's pretty solid.
I've listened to the album myself. I did actually like a lot. Like one of my favorite songs, which I will get into more deeply of why I like it more in this interview, is called Kickback, especially with the Doom
Okay,
sample.
back on one.
Yeah, Kickback on One. That's one of my favorite songs on the album. One of my favorite ones. If you look at the untitled page, you can see that I've listened to it like I think like 4 or 5 times. It's actually pretty dope.
Yeah, I appreciate it,
Yes,
man. I appreciate it.
yes, sir. And so, congratulations on your release. And and also, so to kick off this interview, I wanted to ask you, how did the concept of dopamine began?
So the concept of my album actually came, I would say, probably. Well, truthfully, I'll put it back this way. So basically, I've always wanted to make music ever since I was like a little kid. Like I've always been like one of those like kids that been the ones that be like like making beats on the table and shit like that with the pencils and shit like that. I've always been like one of those type of people. And plus I just love like just sounds period, like anything with like technology or sounds, like that's something I've always been like fascinated in my life, I would say. But to go back to like the album question, truthfully, I would say this honestly started like all the way back in like late 2019, like my freshman year of college, I would say. So that was about like 5 years ago. So honestly, it started around then. I started off as like a what you call it, like just producing, like just making beats and shit like that. And when I was under the name Soulful Chops, that was the original name for like the actual like producing and shit like that. I had an idea to drop this like producer album. It was all the way back in like 2020. I called that shit, what you call it? It was I called that shit Chop and Soul the demo tapes. That was the original like idea for the project. And then I ended up scrapping that and made like just shorten it to like the demo tapes. And then 2 years later, basically, well, I would say like to like 2021. So about 2 years after 2019, like very late 2021, I basically accidentally took a photo of myself on Snapchat, and this is
Yeah.
how you basically got the album cover. So like basically before I took and got on Snapchat, I accidentally like took a photo of myself like as like the app was opening, and then I saw like this picture right here. I was like, low key, that shit hard as hell. Like I really fuck with like this picture. So I was like honestly, and that's where the concept like very first started. But I didn't have the actual like album name until like February of 2022 when I first heard like the first sample from the album. This like I named the song Empty, and the sample that I used for that song was My World Was.
All right, sorry
Okay,
about that, guys. We had a malfunction on the other side, but we're back now. So can you continue what you were saying, Wavy?
okay, so yeah, so I remember what I was saying. So basically, what I was saying was like I basically first heard that sample. It was like My World Was Empty Without You by the Smith Connection. I heard that shit. It was off of what you call it, the Inspiration and Sound like page. I was just basically like page on YouTube. So I was trying to look for like soul samples and shit like that, because that's like the type of shit like I fuck with, like to make like my music and make my beats and shit like that. And that was when I realized, I was like, yeah, I want to change like the whole like album concept like completely. And then eventually it got to a point where I just was like, when it came to like the actual name of the album, like I can't remember exactly how I ended up landing on that particular name, like off real, but like I just knew, like just doing my research and like what exactly does like dopamine mean. It's just the neurotransmitters that like produce like the chemicals that basically make you happy and shit like that in your life. Like, that's basically what it is. It's like a brain chemical. And once I realized that shit and just just the word dopamine, it just sounds hard as fuck to me. So that's when I realized back in like February 2022 when I first like conceptually like started getting like serious into the project. I realized that yeah, that's the direction I'm gonna go. And then after like 3 delays, we're finally here, bro. So I finally
Yes,
dropped that
sir.
shit.
Yeah, it was like I remember like it was originally supposed to come out. By the way, like Bobby, for context, I've been following Wavy for like since well, I used to follow him like back in like 2021 or two, I believe. And then like I started speaking to
Yeah.
him around September of 2023, and then like he told me about this album he was gonna put out. And the original release date was original, I think it was around November, then it got pushed to December, and then it got pushed like I think like February, I think, as far as I can
So
remember.
yeah, so not to cut you off, but like basically the original idea was that in 2022 I was gonna drop it June 25th, 2022. Ended up not happening because I had a lot of shit like personal going on in my life at the time, and I just like, and plus I was like, bro, I'm not gonna be able to get this album fucking finished, bro. So I
Right.
basically indefinitely like delayed the shit, and then for like basically a year after that part, and then that was when I got to the what's called the August 25th, 2023 date.
Mhm.
And then what ended up happening there is that the the shitty thing about me, I would say when it comes to like my work process is that I like to fucking procrastinate a lot. So that's the biggest problem I have. Like in order for me to like to completely stay focused, I had to be like insanely locked in order to get some shit done. But as far as like that aspect goes, like yeah, like it was after August 25th, 2023, like because I after that summer I realized I'm like still not done with the album. You know why? Because I procrastinated and I truthfully didn't work on it at all. So what ended up happening was that I basically throughout the whole process, like I took in like I've been had the beats done for like a long time, like the production, like the beats and stuff like that. And what ended up happening was that I realized like, like my time was kind of like running short as far as like the amount of attention I'll potentially be able to have for this album. And I realized like I believe it was back in like 2 months ago, like February 2024. Keep in mind, I only had one song out of 10 done from the album. And what ended up happening was that I was talking to some people like that I fuck with from like the Twitter spaces and shit like that. And it's a dude I know, like I talked to him since like September of last year. So there's a guy named what's called like Jay that I fuck with. And like what's called that's the guy that eventually ended up like mixing and mastering the album and shit like that. But like I talked with him and shit like that, and he basically told me that bro, like that's a month and a half. Like that's you trying to release it, and he was the one that actually like inspired me like to try to like get the shit done at time because he said it's possible. And sure enough, literally, believe it or not, in those 6 weeks from like February, I believe it was February 22nd to like I think April 4th. I want to say I might be wrong on the last date, but I believe the first date is correct. But literally in 6 weeks time, that's how long it took me to write the whole album, the whole rest of the album. So literally those
Oh,
2 years I delayed the album and stuff like that. I literally did not work on it at all. Like I probably made beats and shit like that, but I didn't like truthfully started writing to it, like as far as like writing the lyrics and shit like that until like February 2024. So literally this album in particular was made in 6 weeks.
oh wow. 6 weeks.
And yeah, so literally I wrote the whole album in 6 weeks, like verses and all. And then we finally, after that third delay, like we finally dropped it on April 12th. So last Friday.
And like speaking of last Friday, so you hosted a listening party at do you want to inform where you hosted the listening party or not?
Yeah, yeah. So that's fine. So basically, I basically hosted it in my hometown of like Columbia, South Carolina. So
Right.
I took in like I currently go to school there, but I'm about to go ahead and graduate in May, so next month as of this video. So what I wanted to the original plan was I wanted to take it like do it outside like on like the actual school logo that's in the middle of campus. Or some things that had like happened like as far as like the weather and shit like that. Like it was saying it was gonna like storm like all day that day, so basically rain out my whole event. And then what ended up happening was that like the rain came, but like it literally didn't even rain out the event at all. Like by the time it was like 2 o'clock, like about 6 hours before my event was supposed to start, literally it was dry
Right.
outside. So I was like, bro, like that kind of like like fucked it up a little bit. That's honestly how that was supposed to happen. But what we ended up doing was that we ended up moving it inside for the next day, which was that Friday, April 12th, like the day the album was supposed to drop, or the day the
Yeah,
album dropped eventually. And then we ended up just doing it inside, like the Russell House. The Russell House at University of South Carolina in Columbia is basically like just like the dining hall, like the main dining hall on campus. Is basically what it is. So we took it. They got like a little like performance venue that's in like the they call it the basement, but it's like downstairs, like in the actual building. That's where I hosted it at. Now I live streamed it, on all the
yeah,
platforms I could possibly do at the time. That was
yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, stuff
Okay,
like that.
so speaking about the listening party, like how did the event go? Like did it succeed your expectations on how you planned the listening party, or tell me about
So I'll put
it?
that out there. So there was a lot of shit that went wrong, if I'm being honest. Like that's what that like I told you personally, like I've honestly just botched the shit. I could have if I would have, but the thing was like it was perfectly planned out beforehand on that Thursday. So that was the first thing that messed it up. And two, I brought some like smoke machines. So like the intentional idea was that I was supposed to have like smoke machines like on like the bottom of like the stage floor, and then I was supposed to stand over it and then playing the music and stuff like that. And it's supposed to basically like just like set the scene and set the tone for like the music and stuff that was playing in the background. So that was basically the original plan. But what ended up happening was that the room itself was like very poorly ventilated. So like the smoke, like long story cut short, like the smoke from the smoke machines set out the whole fire alarms and everything, and it made everybody have to evacuate. I was like, golly, boy, that shit was embarrassing. But what ended up happening was that what you call it, like we were outside for like 30 minutes, and the other problem was that when I was trying to like drop the album as well, because I basically was running late on that aspect of the release because what you call it, like we literally was working on it until the bell rang. Like so, basically, me and Jay was like we're like working on this shit, and he told me there was some songs he wanted to work on again, and there was some songs I wanted to work on again as far as like re-recording and like all this other shit. So literally, like I think around 3 p.m. that Friday, like 3 hours before we were supposed to like actually like be like preparing for the event, like literally we still was working on it. Like it was that was the other thing. So the plan was I was gonna like drop all that like during that time while we setting up and stuff like that, and then we drop it right at 8 p.m. When the event was supposed to start. But all that went out the window when the smoke machines went off. So but what ended up happening was that ended up basically getting delayed like 45 minutes later, and then we ended up having it anyway. 17 people showed up in total, and throughout all my social media platforms, I took a live stream to about I say about 2,000 plus people. Like end up not all streaming at the same time, but like at least like for what I saw after I turned off the live stream, it was about like 245 people that was like streaming all at the same time. But after the fact, like over 2,000. I counted the views and stuff like that. So I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, like I said before, even though I had to, all this stuff happen and like I delayed it like 45 minutes after it was supposed to happen. Like I mean, honestly, I mean, as far as like a first performance go, I mean, honestly it was pretty decent in my opinion. And considering the fact that this was my first performance since like what fifth grade, and then I'm 23 years old, so that's like long ass time ago. Like the first performance I ever did like was back in like a what you call it, like my elementary school. Like cause I'm born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina, so it was elementary school. It was Congreve Elementary I used to go to.
Right.
And yeah, I took it. It was like a they call that the Congreve Cabaret because cabaret is like it's like a term, like it's basically a fancy term for like talent show basically. So I took it did don't stop till you get enough by Michael Jackson. I was there
Yeah.
like just like moonwalking and all type of shit. Like it was cool. Like it was like damn, like literally like damn, whole crowd cheered, like went crazy. Like I was honestly like one of the proudest moments of my life. But that was the last time I actually like performed. Like other than that, like like last Friday, technically even though I didn't like perform like like that technically was a performance though I would say. So that was the first time I like performed ever since then. So that was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, like but speaking about the listening party, like the music is what was like the main like go-to for your event. And so I did watch your live stream when because in context like you started like around I believe it was like 7:30 or 8 o'clock. It was like around 8, something like that. And then I was working at the time. I clocked out around 9:30 and I watched your listening party. But for context, the album hadn't been out. And so I was surprised with two things. One, the fact that you were wearing a mask representing kind of like not representing, but it's like a homage, I assume, to Ye. Do you think that's true? It was a homage?
To an extent, yeah, but I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, I mean, like everybody's entitled to like interpret like how they think the mask like represents or like that. And of
Yeah.
course, I don't condone any anti-Semitism, considering that one, I'm Jewish, but I do fuck with the man's music. I mean, the man's honestly just a musical genius. So I'm not like like meat riding or nothing like that. I'm just telling you my truth when it comes to that aspect. But as far as
Yeah.
like the controversial shit that motherfucker constantly says, bro, like I can't control that, and none of us can control that either. So man, and to sit here to say that I condone that, nah, I don't. But as far as like the music goes, I definitely fuck with the music, like no question. But when it goes to like the mask itself, truthfully, I basically was trying to match the album cover.
Right.
That's all. And plus it looked in my opinion artistically it looked cool. So it just matched
Yeah.
like the spotlight and then the what's called like the mask on and stuff like that, like literally just matching the album cover.
Speaking
So that
about
was the that was the intention.
yo, sorry
But
about that. Sorry about that.
nah, you
But
good.
speaking about the album cover, yo, why don't you show what you got at the back of your shirt? Why don't you show that real quick? Because it's like
Oh, the
really
back of my
cool.
shirt.
Yeah,
Okay,
show that.
so I would say this is what's called okay, you can see it. All right,
It's
so
cute.
basically on the back I take and got what's called like just like the title of the album. I got like the debut album on the bottom of it and my name, and I put my boy's producer name on it, which is Wiz J slash Archmage. I believe I pronounced that right. And based on what he told me, Archmage is like one of the highest forms like as a wizard. So that's why he chose like that particular name title. Like once he told me that and he told me how to pronounce it and he told me Arch McGee or none of that crazy shit. That's when I realized like I was like, hey, that shit actually pretty dope. Like I fuck with that. And then on the bottom of the shirt, I actually had like a big ass like QR code, and that's intentional because truthfully, honestly, in my opinion, like if I ain't mistaken, I'm one of the first people to actually do that shit. So the reason why I put a QR code in the back because like the thing is when you in public you'll see like when you see this shirt in particular you see this it looks interesting because it's just like it's something different, it's something you've never seen before. And then the thing is when you're walking in public you always see people's backs. So
Yeah.
like the reason why I put a QR code in the back was because the thing is it's gonna like fuck with people's curiosity. So they're looking like okay, so I see the shirt and they see me walking past or whoever walking past with this particular shirt on. They're like, man, like what the hell? Like that shit kind of cool or look unique. And then they see that QR code, and the thing is, the QR code is specifically made to be read intentionally because the thing is, I did my research on it, but the color red actually catches people's attention. So you got the shirt that catches people's attention, but you also got the QR code that catches people's attention as well, since it's the color red. That's what it made. Stop signs red. It made like stoplights red and so on and so forth because it catches people's attention. It's like literally the only colors that like catches people's attention. So that's why I made it red. And then the other thing too is that with the QR code in the back of the shirt, it also piques people's curiosity because they like, does it actually work? And the funny shit is it literally does work. That's the funny shit. So that's another reason why I put the QR code on there. And the QR code, like, it literally just gives you a link to like the places where you can stream the album. And I
Nice.
currently don't I currently don't have it like well stream the album and buy t-shirts if you want. But what you call it? I basically I forgot I basically lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's what the QR code like takes you to. Honestly, it takes you to like places where I remember what I was gonna say. But the places where you can stream the album for free and buy t-shirts. And the other thing too is that I don't have the album on streaming services because currently I'm still working on trying to like clear samples and stuff like that. So that was the other thing I was gonna say. So it's not on streaming services, but if anybody want to stream the album, it's on like places like like the Untitled app, YouTube, SoundCloud, Audio Mac, Bandcamp, and then you can download it off of Google Drive, Google Drive, Dropbox, and Mega. But
That's
the
what's
one
up.
thing I keep in mind is that there's two platforms in particular, SoundCloud and Audio Mac, but they got some of my songs copyrighted. So I
Hmm.
suggest like people that fuck with the album, listen to it on like the sites that are listed that aren't copyrighted. So just those two in particular, just don't mess with them
Yeah,
to
we'll
get the
link all
full
of
to get the
those.
full album experience. But good.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. We will link all of those platforms in the link in the description of the video. So if ever y'all
Yeah, that's
viewers
cool.
want to check out the album, it's free. It's only 10 songs long and it's approximately 22 minutes. So it won't take much of your time to listen to Xavier Bolton's Dopamine album. So we're gonna link it
No
to the
features.
description of the video.
No features
No
either.
features, by the way.
Don't
He's
forget, no
the
features. Yeah.
he's a South Carolina J. Cole. South
to an
Carolina
ex-
J.
to an
Cole.
extent, to an extent. But hopefully we get to a point where I'm South Carolina's Xavier Bolton, and then
Yeah, he's like,
I'll be side on side with bro. So
yeah.
we'll see.
All right. So also I wanted to ask you, so let me see. Did you okay. If you had to choose about three influences for your album, who would you choose? Like your three like that really like influenced you on creating the project and like your skills on rapping, writing, and producing the songs.
Okay, so you're saying like artists, like who
Yes.
inspire me? Okay, so
Yes. Hmm.
like I said before, I don't condone the controversial shit, like that man be saying. But obviously, Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is one inspiration for sure as far as the music goes. I would say definitely Andre 3000, and I would say MF Doom for sure because I like after the one thing I've gotten a lot from people that actually listen to the album is that what you call it. They said I have a lot of like Doom influence, and definitely I can tell you for a fact that I fuck with MF Doom, rest in peace. And
Yeah.
also I love that dude's music, and like also our voices are pretty similar because we have like a deep rapping voice. If I'm being honest, I think that's just how I rap. That's how my voice sounds. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say those three in particular.
There's a song on here on this record that really sounds like really doom inspired. It's called Rise. It's track number 5 off the record. And the cool thing about this song is that true to like Doom's like artistry, it's only 47 seconds long. It is really short. And Xavier Bolton right here wasted no time of just giving you a performance on the song. While you hear like the mad lib, mad villainy kind of instrumental in the background. So I noticed that. And honestly, did you have the same intention of like being like really like influenced by Doom on that track, Rise?
Not intentionally. I basically was trying to like find like my sound on the actual like what's called like instrumental itself because that beat in particular, I basically sampled like the first part of Gospel and for a New Century by Wavis Tumor. I basically sampled that first part. That's something actually conceptually I've been holding back literally for 4 years because like when I first heard that sample like during the pandemic, like I got put on to their music because like I remember it being recommended on my Apple Music, and that kids that came from the album Heaven to a Tortured Mind by them, and arguably in my opinion that's my favorite and their best album. And I
Right.
remember hearing this shit for the first time, bro. I was like, and that even back then when I couldn't rap and shit like that, I was like, bro, like I gotta fucking find a way to like do something with this shit. So originally my idea was like to chop it up like on my MPC. Like for people that don't know, an MPC is like just a beat making machine, basically a drum machine.
Yeah.
Like the original idea was I was gonna chop it up and make a beat like that, but I decided to just honestly just sample the first part and just rap over it. And I showed some friends close to mine like what you call it, like I was gonna like rap over this shit, and I remember like one of my boys, his name Patrick, used to be one of my roommates for like a couple of years. Met like here in Carolina, like it's like what you call it, like college friends and shit like that. And
Right.
man, he was like, bro, I ain't know what you finna do with this shit. I kept telling him, I said, you don't see me rapping on this shit, bro. Like, he told me like, I was like, cause low key, I see the vision of how I'm gonna do this shit. And he's like, bro, I don't see how you gonna rap on this shit, bro. Because the beat is so unique, and it's also
Yeah.
very fast paced. And then eventually it got to a point, like I said before, like I figured out how to like actually rap and shit like that. And then like I basically made the song. What was this? That was actually the first song I started making. Like as far as like that 6 week run when I said I was writing the album and shit like
Yeah.
that. So cause I remember I dropped it like I started writing to it on February 22nd and I ended up dropping it on February 24th. So Yeah, like
24th?
I took a road to it. And what you
Oh,
about to say?
well, you said April 24th?
No, February 24th. So
Oh,
two
okay.
months ago.
I thought you said you stopped writing it on April 24th. My fault. Sorry about that.
Oh, nah, I was saying like I started writing to it on February 22nd, and then I dropped it on February 24th. But as
Oh,
far as
yeah,
far as
yeah.
like but as far as like the flow goes and how I sound, like honestly, it was just me fucking around with sounds because I remember I think I recorded that shit maybe like 15 to 20 times, like try to get that shit to sound like, in my opinion, like artistically, like right, and make sure I sound good. Because the thing about me, I'm very like up there when it comes to like being like a perfectionist. Because like I just like it to me, in my opinion, like when I release music, if I think the shit ass, I'm not gonna drop it, truthfully. But the thing is that with me being a perfectionist, that's another reason why like it takes me a long time to like actually like conceptually come up with ideas. Because I want the shit to be as perfect as possible. So with that song in particular, I think I went with the deep voice on that one because in my opinion it sounded the best on that beat. If I'm being honest with you. So that's why like it's very like doom inspired to an extent because I felt like artistically that was the direction I wanted and needed to go with that track. So that's the answer.
And speaking about him, on this record, I heard you sampled Jay-Z's Marcy Me and Doom's question mark off his Operation Doomsday record. How did you get inspired to rap over those instrumentals? And you specifically chose them for this project, Dopamine.
Okay, so that's a great question actually. So I'll put this out there before I answer the actual question. But basically, the first half of the album, like tracks 1 through 5, I completely produced myself, and then the last few, they were going to be produced by me as well. But I took and just decided to pick and choose beats because I just wanted the album to artistically sound better. And another thing too was that like the original idea for Beautiful Fantasy, I was going to use the sample that Marcy Me used, but it just ended up getting to a point where I was making the beats and shit like that, and I was like, it ain't fitting what I want to go with for this song. That's why I was like, I think it'd probably be better just to go what you call it, just go just like rapping on like this particular beat. If I'm being honest,
Right.
so like that's why for what you call it for Beautiful Fantasy for like the rest of the songs, the album, I took and just what you call it, just I took and got samples, and there was some songs where I would have the samples and I would like splice the instrumental in between. So like Memories is a good example of me doing that. So I took and used like the Beatles sample was like You Never Give Me Your Money by the Beatles. It's off of Abbey Road. I took and used like the beginning of that song and then the ending of that song and then in the middle of it I took and put Coastal by Daniel LaFleur. I took and put that instrumental in there. And all the samples that I've heard like prior to the album, like there was samples I really fuck with. So that's why I took and put it in my particular album because because the thing about me is like when I hear like particular sounds and shit like that, if I really fuck with them, I instantly come up with ideas of like how I'm gonna be able to use that shit and like interpret it into like my own sound. It's basically how my mind works when it comes to sampling. It even be some songs where I be listening to it in the car and I automatically think of like some words and shit like that, like some bars. And I'll take it like I'll be driving and shit like that, and literally like I'll be hearing some beats and shit like that, and I literally come up with a bar in my head, and I realize like I need to what's called start writing them shits down because if I don't write them shits down, I'm gonna fuck around and forget. So what I do is I be driving and shit like that, and fucking I literally like as soon as I think of some shit while I'm listening to like music in my car, I think like just damn just write that shit just like swipe text. Got one hand on the wheel, I'm swipe texting like damn like my bars and shit like that. Make sure I don't crash. So that's why I'm like, I'm paying attention to the road as well and make sure like, I write that shit down. I put my phone down. That's basically
Right.
how I do that shit.
We back in this bitch like we never left. Let's fucking go.
Right.
We are back from the break, and so I wanted to continue this interview, continuing on for the sample things. What are your top five producers of all time that like inspired you a lot or influenced you without this project and in general? It could be both.
Top 5 producers all time.
Yeah.
Not in any order, but of course, Ye formerly known as Kanye West is one of them. Doom. When I say Doom, MF Doom. see. That's a great question. I had to deal. I literally had to write that down. If I'm being honest, but there's a lot of producers I fuck with. Jay Dilla. Shit, you got Just Blaze. You got like No ID. Like even Swiss Beats got some hard ass beats, bro. Like
Right.
it's hella producers I fuck with, but I probably name like 6 or 7. But yeah, that's ones I can think of on top of my head that definitely I fuck with producer wise.
I feel like
There's lots more, but I ain't gonna cut y'all. But there's lots more, but I can't think of them all for real. If I'll be honest.
I feel like there's a lot of Dilla influence throughout your project as well. Like I feel like in like tracks like Empty and Alone Again kind of felt like more so Dilla centric tracks. I feel like
Oh yeah,
with
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely because like I could hear like the sounds of like stuff you would hear from like Donuts or The Shining, both projects from Jay Dilla. So I definitely wanted to ask you about that, about like what was your like favorite producers and stuff like that. But hold up.
I don't know why this should keep doing that. I don't know why. I don't know why my mic keep doing that. But we chilling now.
We
But
chill.
what was the question again?
So I saw on the credits on your YouTube page that you sampled an unreleased Tyler the Creator song. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. So basically, well, where I got the actual beat from, like this was back in like the 2022 sessions, like back 2 years ago, when
Right.
I was like first making the album and shit like that, and that was a and that those particular beats in particular, I actually had found that shit. I just I don't know exactly how I stumbled across like those beats in particular, but all I know is for sure it's like some beats that he made for Louis Vuitton. It was for like I believe it was like a Louis Vuitton like fashion show. So the ones I sampled in particular, it was two of them that I basically spliced and put together. So the first one that I basically rapping for like 2 minutes straight. That one is the Sun, and then the transition basically was like the transition into like the second song of that little project that was on YouTube of like all the songs that I guess they ripped from the actual fashion show. And then I took in I think Desert is the name of it. But I think Desert was like the third or fourth song. I took it, just spliced it into like the second part of the beat, make it its own like complete thing. And yeah, I mean that's basically it. Honestly, I basically just like spliced those two together because I really fucked with those beats. And I found that back in like March of 2022. And
Right.
originally, the name of that song, like currently, the final title is "This Is My Life Now." But originally, I was gonna drop it as "My Life Today." But I ended up just growing out of that title, and I just just changed it to "This Is My Life Now." It sounded a lot better, in my opinion, sonically.
Right. And like it's one of those songs, This Is My Life Now, by the way, where I heard you were singing on this song. Kind of like it reminded me a lot of Igor off of Tyler the Creator. Was that like your main was that one of like your influences as well on the project?
Not necessarily. So like the singing part basically came from like something I just thought, again, like I said before, I thought it was sounding cool. I thought it would
Mhm.
sound cool on the actual production. And that was something I actually thought of again like 2 years ago, like when I was first like thinking about like rapping over the actual like instrumental. Like that was one of the things I was like, yeah, I think that part would sound dope. And I showed one of my friends that shit, and he actually thought it was actually pretty hard
Right.
when it comes to that part, even though like it's singing or whatever, and of course, light skin, we stereotypically depicted to be singing motherfuckers. So, but
Yeah.
that wasn't the intention. It's just that what you call. I think sonically it sounded dope. Like having that part like over that production, and then go into that other verse.
Right. And so also I wanted to go back to the Dopamine project itself. Are you planning to record any music videos for any of the songs on the project? Like to promote like the songs even more per se, or like to kind of like show your vision of like the songs themselves?
I mean, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I ain't never really been like what you call it. I don't really got any ideas for music videos, if I'm being honest. For one and two, like I mean, I ain't got to, if I'm being honest. But if I were to make music videos, I would say I probably would make one for like Beautiful Fantasy because I got an idea of maybe just like doing that shit in like a beach setting, and then just like just go from there. I don't want to spoil too much if I decide to drop that, but basically just have that shit, the backdrop be like a beach setting, and
Right.
then just go from there. I think that concept would be dope. And then what you call it? I mean, a few more songs. I can't really think of off the top of my head, but I got some ideas as far as like how I would want to go about that if I decide to go that route. But we'll see.
With the projects themselves, and I'm saying projects because I know you're currently planning to do a series of projects, kind of like what Ye wanted to do with do you remember the college dropout, literature,
Yeah,
graduation, and the scrap
good.
good ass job.
Yep.
So with your projects that are coming out soon enough, do you want to discuss about those projects and potentially if those like titles have like any influence on your upcoming projects?
Yeah. So like basically, I don't want to spoil too much, but so basically, the original plan was I was gonna have it was gonna be dopamine. My life is a video game, and it was gonna be what's called Welcome to My Reality. Then Saturday morning cartoons, but I took a changed up the way how I wanted to do it. So I basically changed up the second and third album to be like what you call my second album now is gonna be Welcome to My Reality, and then the third album is gonna be My Life is a Video Game and Saturday morning cartoons. So like basically the reason why I did that shit is because I think sonically it would make more sense if I'm being honest when it comes to like the music styles of each project
Right.
because the music style for the next album I don't want to spoil too much but like the music style for that album for sure like it's definitely gonna be no pun intended, but out of this world experience, like that type of like like I
Right.
say
Right.
not look, but like sound and feel. I would say for that one, as far as that one goes, because I got some samples I want to use, and that shit gonna be. I'm telling you, when I finally make this like finish that album, that shit's gonna be insane. I'm honestly, I'm not even trying to brag, but that shit gonna like as far as like production wise and stuff like that, I'm gonna get my bars up there. But as far as like production wise, that shit gonna fucking it's gonna be wild. Like that's all I can say. I can't wait to drop that one. But I'm gonna do that one, and it's gonna be kind of similar to dopamine, but it's gonna be like that shit could be crazy. That's all I can say for now about that one. But
Right.
as far as like the next two albums after that, like My Life is a Video Game is gonna be entirely like all video game samples. This one's gonna be so it's basically gonna be a video game inspired album I've been wanting to do for like years, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that shit. And then Saturday Morning Cartoons is just how it sounds, just like the last album I said it was like video game inspired. Saturday Morning Cartoons basically based off like Saturday Morning Cartoons I watched as a kid. Like it's all sampled and produced by me. So the next
Right.
three albums they're gonna be like I said before for the first album like it's like I say it's around 50% produced by me. Like the next three albums gonna be 100% produced by me.
Right.
And I'm just
So
make the whole thing from scratch.
yeah, also with the video game one, is it like so like the way you wanted to make it, is it like are you familiar with Kanye's scrap TurboGrafx 16 by any chance?
Yeah, that one I actually was looking forward to that one, but yeah, that one was a video game inspired album. But
So
yeah,
you're basically finna do what Kanye never basically did, but in your
to
style,
an
of
to an
course.
extent, to an extent, yeah. But at the same time, yeah, you can say there's inspirations as far as like like where I got that from. But truthfully, it's just something I've always wanted to do, and plus nobody has done it as of this video. So
Right.
like that's why I wanted to go that route. And plus it'll go with the futuristic aesthetic, considering the fact that this album might fucking drop like excuse me like 2028, 2030. We'll see, depending on when my next album drops. So
Yes, sir.
it definitely blend in with the times as far as like the futuristic aesthetic.
I can't wait for that. And so I also wanted to ask you, so I'm pretty sure you know, or it's like a common little it's a common thing with artists that with their music, not only are they inspired by music itself, but they're also really heavily inspired by like films. Like for example, like stuff from like Ye or The Weeknd, for example. They sample a lot of stuff from like David Lynch and like stuff like that. So with your project, did you have like any films that like inspired you within like the concepts or like the sound of the project itself?
To answer that question, I would say not anything in particular. If I'm being honest, the main thing that really inspired me for this album was just mainly just this hella people in my lifetime tell me I can't do any type of like positive shit. like for myself
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Like as far as like this album goes, I had hella people telling me like in real life, I'm like, oh man, you suck. Oh man, this damn third. Like, but the thing is about me when it comes to like my confidence and shit like that, I'm so obnoxious when it comes to that shit. Like to most people because in my entire life I had hella motherfuckers tell me I can't do what the fuck I want to do.
Yeah.
So I've always been one of those people like I just love like I get a satisfaction of proving people wrong. So that's
Hmm.
really where like a lot of the inspiration came from as far as like just like my lyrics and as well as like just like a production and shit like that. Cause like the production, like my lyrics will get there. Like my lyrics are like they okay at the moment. They'll get to a point where I'll be like in my prime. But like on my production, I would say I'm in my prime right now though for damn sure because I've been producing for like 5 years now. So that's why I'm able to do what I'm able to do at this moment. This is like
Right.
just like how you what you call it. I put an analogy of like like you practicing for like a sport that you want to play. Like say you playing like football, you playing basketball or something like that. Like you're not gonna be a star wide receiver. Like starting out, like you got to work your way up to get to a point where like you're gonna be like you're a good player. So that's kind of the same like concept I put as far as like my music and shit goes. Like the more time and effort I put into my craft, like the better it's just gonna get.
Yeah.
So I
So
can't I can't wait for that. So
connecting to that, I also wanted to ask about the project itself. So like in general, what was like your favorite? I know this is gonna be hard, but what is like your favorite song that you've worked on? If you had to choose one song that's like you had a blast working, or like you had an amazing or like experience of like working on a song, whether it's producing or writing or even rapping on a song. Like what song did you like love making at the moment from your project?
damn near all of them, if I'm being honest, because like, but at the same time, if I had to pick like one. Like one, I know will eventually pop off at some point. Is definitely kick off, like not kick off, kick back on wine.
Yeah,
It's
my
definitely
favorite
it's
track.
definitely that song is fucking insane. Like I knew as soon as I wrote that shit and as soon as I started like put the pieces together and how like how like a flow and shit like that, I knew
Yeah,
I knew that shit was gonna be that shit was gonna be gold for
yeah.
sure.
And also, I fucking love how you use that MF Doom sample, question mark. It's like legit. Like I remember like listening to that album when I was like in freshman high school, and because I got into Doom at that point. This was like 2018, 2019, around that point where I
Yeah,
started really getting into Doom because I obviously knew Doom prior to like his like feature on like Demon Days, like Gorillas, for example. But then like I got
yeah,
into
yeah.
like his solo stuff, and then like I started off with Mad Villainy, and then I listened to Food and Operation Doomsday. And so the fact that you used question mark from Operation Doomsday really surprised me. It caught me off guard a little bit when I heard it on the listening part because I was like, oh shit, my boy Xavier sampled Doom on this project because like it reminded me a lot of like what Lil Wayne did on like the Jot stuff, or not the dedication mixtapes. If you like remember, like he used to like rap on other people's like beats and stuff like that, and he would do it in like in a way where it's like it's different from the original. So I kind of see saw that kind of perspective a little bit, not as like Lil Wayne, for example, but like the homage that you've paid to Doom, obviously, because he's like one of your big influences throughout music, which I
Oh
can
yeah,
hear. And the fact that you rapped on a Doom beat is like insane. And that's why it's like one of my favorite tracks off the project. It's actually, yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite track. And it's like insane, man. You know?
I appreciate it. I remember you asking me like you kept asking me like some shit about like the Doom influence. Like I can't remember the exact question that you asked me, but you said something about like me like using like a Doom track, and I kept telling you, but like bro, I can't spoil it. If I spoil it, I'm gonna ruin the surprise. And as soon as I saw your reaction, bro, I was like yeah, that's exactly how I expected you to react, bro. Guy,
No,
I was like this motherfucker gonna go insane when he hear this shit, bro.
no,
That's
nah,
exactly
bro,
what
because
happened.
like, not because like you posted. I remember on Twitter, you posted the a snippet of the music video of question mark. So I was
Yeah,
wondering,
go
and then
ahead.
you put the song title. So I was like wondering like if you were gonna like sample like I didn't know you were gonna sample a song, but like I was like thinking like, are you gonna sing like a lyric off the song, or was it gonna be like the topic subject? Because like the topic subject of question mark of Doom was like reminiscing about like his days like with his brother,
Yeah, yeah.
and his like time in New York stuff like. So I thought it was gonna be something similar to that, but like it was the instrumental itself. And by the way, the instrumental is called Podina. I'm pretty sure from the Special Herbs album, the Metal Fingers album, which is definitely if you want to hear Doom's production, like that's the shit you want to go for. Like Special Herbs, definitely some
Oh,
greatest shit.
oh, for sure. I definitely fuck with Special Herbs for sure. I'm trying to, my bad. I'm trying to pull up that on that text you had sent me about that shit. That's why I'm
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
my phone.
He finna show you. He finna show you what I texted him. Or I think it was like a tweet or some shit like that.
Oh, you know what? You had called me, and that was when we were talking about this shit. I was trying to look for the damn. I can't find that shit. But yeah, I remember we had we had talked about this shit on the phone. That's what it was. Like I was thinking we
Oh
had texted
yeah.
that shit, but I was looking at my text messages. I can't even find it. But yeah,
Oh
that's what
yeah,
it was.
because he had
I had called you, or you had called me, and then you were
yeah.
talking about this shit. I was like, nah, I was spoiled too much, bro.
Yeah, you're not gonna spoil it, bro. Until last Friday it came out. And so like, I wanted to give like time. I wanted to give you time to like speak about this like project because like as of right now it is well we started recording this like late April 16th, and right now it's April 17th, Wednesday at 12 a.m. right now as we're speaking East Coast time. So I wanted to wait a little bit of a while to like listen to the project a couple times and then like ask you about this project because like you've been actually working like really hard on the project for a
Oh yeah,
while now.
yeah.
Y- You're working hard. And so like I wanted to ask you what was the biggest setback on making this project?
Honestly, I didn't have any setbacks until like the actual like event. I mean, that was really the only setback, and that shit did not go as planned at all. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I didn't really have any like setbacks as far as like just like say making the music. If I'm being honest, I ain't really have any like setbacks. If I'm being honest, because everything on that aspect. Well, you know what? I'm lying. Actually, I did have a setback. So I recorded the whole album on Audacity and then send it to my boy Jay like to mix and master it on Logic Pro. Since I don't know how to use Logic Pro and I fuck with like how like it's so sound sonically like using that on platform. So the thing is like I would say that was the biggest setback because like I would record on there and literally I would have to align my vocals like myself to get it to sound the way how I sound like rapping and shit in real time. If that makes sense. Like so basically I would like I would lay a verse and then all of a sudden the vocals would be like insanely misaligned to the point where it sounds completely off beat. If that makes sense. Like that shit was so hell. I had to there was some vocals I had to splice, like to try to get this line back up. There was some vocals like some work like I just me scooting the vocals back a little bit and it was perfect. And then others I had to like literally splice individual parts to get it to sound like it was on beat. That's why some parts you listen to the shit and some parts they be off beat compared to like the actual like production because fucking I edited the shit on Audacity. But I know for next time, I mean, we working on trying to like record on a garage band and that's just gonna like definitely take away the workload for sure because that shit was a lot of the work on my side because I was trying to fucking make sure that shit sound perfect and it still doesn't sound perfect if I'm being honest. There's still some parts where like it's like offbeat a little bit, but I'm gonna fix that shit when I try to clear these samples and try to put this shit on streaming. Like I already thought about the process of going about that, just re-recording like some songs and shit like that. There's some songs I'm not even gonna fuck with because I think they're perfect the way it is. But some songs I'm gonna definitely re-record because I feel like I can make that a whole lot better. And also, as well as like my voice goes and some shit. There's some songs I'm like I ain't really fuck with my voice on this, so I'm gonna change that shit up as well for the streaming
Right.
release. When I eventually clear all these samples, hopefully all 12 of the people that I sample they let me release the project. So that's gonna be the biggest obstacle is getting all 12 people to you know unanimously agree that yeah like that's fine for you to use my song on the project and then I can release it.
Yeah.
So
And so that's the plan, pretty
well
much.
properly release it. But yeah, you get what I'm
Right.
saying.
Right. And so like I also wanted to ask you about like one aspect about music. So do you wish to like collab with like other independent artists at the moment? Like let's say like for example like a feature, like you giving a feature or like working with like other indie artists? Like do you have that in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to work with like hella people, bro. Like shit. I mean, one guy in particular, I would love to work with Wale the Sage. Like I ain't know if you
Mhm.
ever heard of him. But he made that one song. It's called Blue. It's like um how that shit go. It's like on nights like this, nothing, like that song, bro. I ain't know if you ever heard of that shit, but that shit hard, bro. I remember hearing that song for the first time. And I was like, man, I got to try to see if I can work with this motherfucker. And he actually follows me. We've been on keeping in contact with each other and shit like that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, shit, you know, like let's make a song or some shit. Because honestly, because there be some people like, because the thing is, I'm very good with sounds and shit like that. There be some people I hear like their music or I hear like their voice and shit like that, and I can picture how I can put them into a song. That's what I'm like with his voice in particular. I'm like yeah, I can find a way to like you know fit him because he could probably be like you know like a core like be put in the chorus aspect, and then I could drop like a what you call like a verse after that or verse before. That's when I'm like building the song and shit like that because I can easily produce them. It's not hard for me. Like as far as like that aspect goes, cause like, but like I said before, like I hear people's voices and shit like that in music, and his in particular, I was like, yeah, like I think I could put him in a song somewhere. I actually fit him in my vision for like the actual like piece of music. But yeah,
Right.
artists like that, and you know, like I definitely want to work with my cousins for sure. My cousins, I'll make a little bit of music. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean that's all I can think of for now. If I'm being honest, but like all my albums not gonna be featureless though. It was only featureless for this album because like that was just the vision I had. If I'm being honest, like I wanted to be completely like featureless for the first
Right.
album.
Right. And I also wanted to ask you, do you have any like shows that you would like to do like sometime around in the future, like any like performances like at like some venue or whatnot?
I mean, we working on it. It's in the works, but the thing is, I'm working on trying to learn the words to my songs at the moment. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing because I like because truthfully I want to do like a traditional performance. Like I don't want like my definition of a traditional performance is like just the instrumentals and I'm just rapping over it live. Like that's how I'm gonna do this shit. I don't want to be like you know like I could do it that way, like how some artists do nowadays. Like they play their song and just like either go over it or they lip sing. I ain't trying to do that. I'm trying to like actually like give people a performance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So excuse me,
Xavier
but yeah,
performance.
that's the something like that. But yeah, that's basically like the end goal. It's just like I got to make sure like I know all the words to my songs and then I go out there and perform. Like I'm not just gonna like drop an album and then drop a performance right after that because I'm like because I don't know all the words of my songs yet. I mean, especially considering that I wrote the songs in 6 weeks. Like, yeah, I definitely don't know all the words to them shits, bro. If I'm
Shit.
being honest, I know the words to maybe two or three songs, but I don't know all the words to that shit. If I'm being honest.
No, you good, you good. Because like that's what like some artists sometimes like they work on songs and then like they would like need to like rehearse that shit. And then
Yeah.
like when they drop like another project that like not perform like one of their songs, 'cause obviously it's like old and stuff like that. Like, it applies to like many artists and stuff like that. And
Oh
also
yeah, for sure.
moving on to the next question. So I heard you're like selling merch at the moment for your project. So are you also dropping physical releases for your album, like on like CDs or vinyl?
No. So like until if I were to get every sample cleared, you know, and able to put it on streaming, then yeah, I'll go ahead and drop some physical releases if I can figure out ways to do that. But as far as like that goes from right now, no, because I had to clear these samples. So I had to get all the proper licensing permissions and all that good stuff like that in order for me like that to properly sell it and then
Right.
go from there. But yeah, but in the future, yeah, for sure. But as far as the merch goes, like nobody ain't got no say so over the t-shirts. Like these t-shirts right here, I'm selling them. So like I'm selling them for $25 a piece.
Uh, that's what's up.
So so
I'm
yeah,
also gonna link.
these are available now. So
I'm
they're
gonna
available with the I ain't mean to cut you off, but they're available with the link he's gonna provide after this. So
Yes, sir.
the bit.ly/m/dopamine album, like it's all available right there.
Be provided in the link of the description of this interview. So make sure you support an independent artist with Xavier Bolton right here. You gotta support him. Like he's been working like on this shit for like years. And like if you actually want to support independent artists, go go to link in this bio, download the music and buy his merch. Get your bang for your buck. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and they're great quality shirts too. They I say they're pretty soft material and everything, very comfortable. And considering that what you call that, you know, it's like the springtime going into the summer, like they're very they're not super thin, but they're pretty thin to a point where they actually pretty comfortable to wear.
All right.
So and the material's like spot on. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
The last topic I want to talk about is well, this might be a little bit touchy, but I want you to give your perspective. So with this project, I know that like on like social media, which I will not get into about like the haters and shit like that you've been getting for like a long time, especially in real life too. So two things. One, how did you deal with that hate? And two, what is your message to all the haters that might be watching this video right now? What do you gotta say to them? Anything you
fuck them.
want, man. Yeah.
That's the answer. Fuck them. But truthfully, I mean, yeah, like I said before, I dealt with a lot of that shit throughout my whole lifetime. So that's why like my skin is like very thick. For one, and two, like I said before, like the shit that people said about me, like now in the past, forever, like I've heard all that shit before. And the thing is, like I said countless times before, like if I would listen to those motherfuckers like back then or now or in the future, I wouldn't be in the position I am now. Like I'm about to fucking like listen from listening to my ideas, like literally I'm about to graduate with a fucking computer engineering degree at the University of South Carolina, 3.0 GPA. Like dropped an album that's actually pretty dope in my opinion. I mean, shit, like shit. Got a girl and everything chilling. Got money coming in. Like honestly, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than that. I mean, plus the other thing too, like motherfuckers that hate on me and hate on other people. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I mean, people like that, they just got something going on with them where it's like shit. They just like they ain't got no choice but to take it out on other people because the thing is, life has already failed them. So they want to try to bring other people down since they already down. So it's just
Right.
that's what it is. I mean, it's just another thing too is that some people like I'm not the only one that deals with this shit. Like there's a lot of people where they just like people don't fuck with them like that. And then I'm one of those people. And that's what it is. I mean, you just gotta sit there and you let that shit defeat you, let that shit deplete you, but at the same time, you just gotta realize like just who gives a fuck at the end of the day. For one, and two, you can still thrive despite all that. You just gotta find
Yes.
people that's like just in like your wavelength, like just like find people that think like the same way and not being like just like don't fuck with motherfuckers to be like just in like negative shit like all the time. Basically, negative shit could be a whole bunch of things like drugs, like gangs, all that shit like that. Like just, shit that ain't positive, like alcohol, like all that shit like that. Just like that's one of the main things. I mean, just that's honestly for what I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, just like shit like that. I mean, like I said before about like the demons part. I mean, motherfuckers like the thing is in my opinion the motherfuckers that's hated by a lot of people. Like it's usually because like what you call it like the demon like it just aggravates the demons that motherfuckers have. If I'm being honest with you, like when if a motherfucker is like basically hating on you like 24/7 or whatever like that, and he consistently get that shit, it just means that something about you is aggravating their demons, aggravating the negative parts of them that causes them to react that way. In my opinion, that's just my philosophy when it comes to that shit. So I mean, it is what it is. You just gotta learn to accept it and just keep it pushing. Like you don't let that shit bother you because honestly, it's not even that serious. If I'm being honest with you, because eventually you'll find people that's like that think the same way as you, do a lot of the same things, and you'll be able to have the relatability. So that's my answer to that.
Right. I agree with that 100%. Man, I feel you. And so, wrapping this interview up, is there anything else you want to say to your supporters or like your fans that are clicking on this interview, listening to you? Is there any final things you gotta say?
The last thing I will say is that like I ain't gonna take up too much time because I see they got that little time left thing, say 4 minutes, like on from the Zoom thing. But the last thing I will say is stream the album, buy some t-shirts. That's it. All love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All love to you, man. Yep. Stream the album. Like I said, link will be in the description to download Xavier Bolton's album Dopamine. Great project. Definitely should check it out. It's only 22 minutes, 10 tracks. That's what I like about artists. They make their stuff short and easily digestible. And that's what I like about this project. So I highly recommend the project. It's a great new project from Xavier Bolton himself. And Xavier Bolton, I would like to thank you so much for participating in this interview about your record. And hopefully, you know, much all love and success to you about this project and like your future projects or whatever you're gonna be working on, man. This shit is gonna be great. It's very inspiring to it's gonna be very inspiring to other indie artists as well. And I appreciate you coming on to this this interview. It's been a while since I've like uploaded like new content on YouTube. I'm not like I'm not trying to like promote like YouTube or anything like that, but like definitely like I like this is the first video I've made in so long because I wanted to like actually, start like this like new like professional era where like I'm actually like interviewing you and like actually making stuff that I really like passionate making, and this interview is definitely one of them. It's a new startup, you know what I mean?
I fuck with this shit. You picked a great person to start it with, bro.
Yes, sir. We up, man. We up. We up.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, Xavier Bolton. Thank you so much for our interview. And yeah, that's what's up, man. Hey, stay blessed up type shit.
For sure, you too, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.